We're not just going to shoot the bastard. We're going to cut out their living guts and use them to grease the treads of our tanks. We're going to murder those bastards by the bushel.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode here of Kaun the Piper. I'm the narrator. Happy to see you back. I'm glad to be back myself. Now, I was going to do some kind of spooky Halloween type thing because we got Halloween coming up. Probably still going to do that. What really want to start it off here was taking a little moment to appreciate this pipe that I picked up a while back. This is a 1943, I believe. It's either produced between the years of 1938 and 1943. Peterson System Standard 314. This is before Ireland was a republic, and it's called a pre-republic. And it actually says on the bottom, and I highly doubt you can actually see it properly, but it says made in Erie. So that, I just thought that was hella cool that, this thing is seen World War II, freaking Korea, Vietnam, all that. So that's pretty wild, man, that this pipe has been around that long. It's in that good of a condition. So I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate that. And I'm smoking out of it today. We're going to be enjoying a little bit of this fell off of the container, but is what it is. You can see it. Cornel and Deal Carolina Red Flake with Perique. This is a fantastic tobacco. I picked up about 5 tins of this. It's St. James Perique and what's called the Tip Project, I believe, of Red Virginias. And what's really cool about it is they take only the leaves from the top 5 leaves from a plant, which represents like the most sugar that you can get out of a tobacco leaf when you cure and ferment it. Super flavorful. I mean, you can see the reviews for yourself if you wanted to go look at it. Good luck getting some. It's pretty much sold out everywhere because it's a small batch release. So I figured I'd take a moment for the subscribers that I do have and those that are going to come in here and take a look to hear what it's about. This blend actually tastes kind of like stone fruits or figs. Has a nice toasty background flavor to it. I really enjoy it. And I'm not, the kind of guy who's going to sit around here and make a whole bunch of, accolades out for tobacco. I mean, I've got a few that I really like that are my favorites, and this is up in the top list, but it's limited edition, so it's not like I can enjoy it every day. I got 5 tins, 4.5 now. Essentially, they're going to be going away, so let's light her up and then get into the story for today. I left my fancy tobacco tool at the house today, so I'm just using a little identifier keychain for my keys and my old Zippo. Great flavor right off the rip. So I'm actually recording today from what I like to call a speakeasy cigar club out here in New England, from a secret society called Brotherhood of the Leaf. I'm a member over here, hidden Havana, and I can tell you, man, this place is awesome. I come in here, I'm in a small room up front where I work out of. The majority of the time, I'm in the back room over here, which is significantly larger, nice, beautiful lounge, and just hang out. But I had good lighting up front here, so I figured this is where I'd squat and tell you guys today's little story. So this is actually going back to around the time where Kaun had gone ghost hunting back in the late 90s, and he was still with or working with this guy Brian, and Mr. D we'll call Brian Mr. D here because let's not give away his last name. He had a great cleaning company. He kept Kaun out of a lot of trouble, so he was kind of like a big brother to him, you know. And back when they were doing the ghost hunting and all of that fun stuff, they decided that they were going to head up to northern Connecticut to an old inn that had been around since the Revolutionary War called the Lyons Inn. And this building is long gone now. It collapsed probably about 10, 15 years ago. And, you know, Kaun had been there probably 1997, 1998. And this is pre-internet. So to get information on this site, Kaun and Brian, Mr. D, they had to go and really just go to the library and look this information up and see what was available on it. So these guys did. They went to the local library, upstate Connecticut. I don't remember what town he said. But they went up to the library and they looked up the information for the Lyons Inn, and they had to go into the reference section and find the old town maps. Essentially, the road that led to the Lyons Inn was completely grown over and forgotten. Probably forgotten on purpose, considering the nature of the haunting there. And the nature of the haunting is interesting. There was a Revolutionary War soldier that was there who had fallen in love with a tavern maid, and every time he was on leave or in that area, he would come visit the tavern maid. And an officer from the Continental Army had also fallen in love with the tavern maid, and this, I guess you would say, militia recruit and this Continental officer decided to get in a duel for her affections, and they literally killed each other, ran each other through right there in a room. And there is a spot on the wall where the saber went directly through the Continental officer's chest and into the wall. And the militiaman basically walked out of the room, took his woman and left the corpse of the Continental officer leaned up against the wall. So they said that if you went to this inn and got this particular room, there was a stain on the wall that just kept reappearing. So it wasn't as if it was bleeding constantly, but there was always a rust-colored stain on the wall that ran down to the baseboard, no matter what they did. Regardless, mind you, if they even changed the wall. So if they took down the wainscoting that was there and put a drywall up, it would be there. Which I don't think actually ever happened, except for that they replaced the wainscoting several times after that, but the stain kept coming back. Also, there were sounds of swords clanging and combat. So this is 1997 now. This goes, we're talking about an incident that happened back in the Revolutionary War. So mind you, now it's 1997, 1998, around there. Kaun and Brian, Mr. D, they head up to this location, and they're driving down this country road, and they're looking back and forth. They cannot find the entrance to this old dirt road that will take them to the Lyons Inn. So they get out with flashlights and start walking around the edge of the road, and they find a thicket, really thick overgrowth, and that's the entrance to the old road that leads to the Lyons Inn. So they go back to the truck and they get out bush saws and they start breaking down this bush so that they could get in there. And Brian D has a great idea that let's cut this thicket down, but then put it back in case some troopers come by or somebody wants to report that, hey, somebody's gone to the old Lyons Inn, and let's report it. So Brian and Kaun cut down this thicket, replace it after they walk to the other side, and they've got their flashlights, disposable cameras, pretty much the same setup that they had when they went to Dudleytown. Disposable cameras, microphones, and a Polaroid. So they start heading out, And they get down towards the Red Lion, and this place is freaking dilapidated. I mean, this is the kind of dilapidation where when they walk in, they've got sticks and they're hitting the floors. They're sounding the boards to make sure that they're not going to fall into a basement or a root cellar. If they go up the stairs, they're not going to collapse through the stairs because everything is so moldy and rotten. But one thing they do notice when they get in there, right off the bat, there is evidence of squatters. So you got to be extra careful in that instance. Squatters want to protect their stuff and their hidden locale. Sometimes they'll play on the local edges of things to scare people off so that they can keep their little spot, you know. So, Kaun says, listen, I'm going to go check upstairs. Brian D., you check down here and see what's going on. They do a clean sweep of the place. Looks like there's nobody in there. The evidence of the spotters, I don't know if you've ever seen a hobo stove. You know, the cans cut and the tops fitted on top of each other, cotton and rubbing alcohol and a penny on top of the thing, and it makes like a little sterno stove. And there was a couple of those in there, you know, cans of food and like some beat up old camp cooking utensils. So these guys make their way around looking at everything. It's light drizzle going on outside at this point, so the place is starting to like kind of creak and make noises as moisture soaks into things. They're keeping that in mind as they take Polaroids and record sounds. Kaun hears something upstairs. Clanging. Not clanging like a clapboard or an old pipe, because there's not many old pipes in function in this place. There's no water running in the pipes to make them clang around. So they decide that they're going to head upstairs and take a look. The famed room where the murder took place, the duel, is towards the back of the building. So they get to the back of the building. They get in there and they take a look, and there is the room. They open the door, and there's the actual spot. It's like literally right across from the door. There's the actual spot on the wall with the rust coming out of it, the rusty stain coming down the wainscoting. They walk over, they take a look at it and say, wow, that's crazy. It's at that exact moment that they walked over and they took a look at it that they started to hear what sounded like a sword fight, a duel. And it freaked them out. I mean, they were like, holy shit, this sounds like it's happening in front of us, right here, right now. Kaun is standing right in front of the spot, the exact spot where I believe the officer was the one that got stabbed through the chest, run through, and then pinned to the wainscoting. He's standing in that spot when suddenly he feels a cold run right through him. Like, right through him. And he realizes in that moment that he is standing in the spot where the officer was, where he got ran through, meaning if this imprint in time was repeating itself right now, Kaun was just run through by a militiaman. A ghost of a militiaman had literally run him through. That is some creepy shit. So Kaun freaks out, decides he's had enough. He's going to walk out of the place. So he starts walking out. And Brian D. turns, looks at the wall, and sees that it looks as if it's actually precipitating, as if it might be bleeding a little bit. He actually said, like he thought for a moment, as Kaun explained what just happened, perhaps, like let's take a look at Kaun's back. Maybe Kaun's back is bleeding. Maybe Kaun scratched himself on something as he came up here. Nope. Perfectly fine. Not a scratch on him, except he's cold. Kaun is cold as hell at this point, which is weird because this is a summer night. Not exactly a cold night. Now, that's weird. I thought it was a kind of an interesting story. I wish the Red Lion Inn was still there. It would be fantastic to head up there and see the ruins of this place, but I'm pretty sure that it's probably been redeveloped or completely torn down in the name of safety at this point. I did go up there about 5-6 years ago just to take a look at the area, rode up and got out, and I mean, I couldn't find anything at all. And I went to based off their description, their mile markers and everything, I went right to their area, and I just saw an open field, and I didn't even see an overgrown thicket. I did see a dirt road, what looked like was an old carriage road, but it was an empty field, so I'm pretty sure it collapsed and was torn down and cleaned out to prevent people from heading in there. And I wonder, why the squatters left their stuff? Did they get freaked out? Did they hear something? Probably. Because the way they describe it, Kaun and Brian D saw some weird and crazy shit that night, and they decided that they were going to head out. Well, I wanted to keep this one short and sweet. I noticed that the other videos running a little bit long, and so this is a little bit shorter. I'm down to the halfway point of this bowl already. I noticed that this System 314 pre-Republic Peterson actually has a smaller chamber than the more modern Petersons, or even some of the earlier than this Petersons. I believe this one was designed to be a little bit more ergonomic and fit in somebody's pocket. Probably also materials were running a little bit low, considering that there was a war effort going on around this time. Well, this tobacco's flavor is absolutely outstanding. If you can find more out there on the market, pick it up, or maybe head over to the Total War Tobacco Club Instagram page. I'll put the handle up on the top of this video here and down in the link below, and you can maybe come discuss. Maybe we can work out a trade. Who knows? All right, guys, happy Samhain. Enjoy yourselves. Don't do much that I wouldn't do, and do more than I would.